Today we're talking about the Satson CS channel strip plugin, and the people over at Sonimus actually reached out to me to review one of their plugins and let me choose which one I want to review. And of course I chose the one that emulates an SSL console because, as you guys know, I actually use SSL console emulation in all the mixes that I do. Now, what I did was I actually mixed a whole entire song using the Satson CS plugin, but I don't want to go into a lot of detail on that yet until we get further into the video. So if you guys want to learn more about this plugin, what it sounds like, what it can do, stick around after this introduction. Welcome everybody, I'm Dan Spencer and I am the Audio Sorcerer. So this is the channel where I teach you how to perfect your audio recording, mixing, and mastering skills. So before we get to the video, make sure you guys smash that like button. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell to know when I have new videos coming out. So without further ado, today we're talking about the Sonimus Satson CS channel strip plugin. And if you guys end up liking this plugin, I have a link in the description below where you guys can get more information on it and purchase it. So this plugin basically emulates a SSL console channel strip, but it's just a little bit different. So you have your initial channel strip input right here, but after that you have a bus compressor because, as you know, on SSL consoles they don't have compressors built in. You have inserts where you can insert compressors. So essentially this is where a compressor would go in the chain if you inserted one. And then you have the infamous SSL EQ right here, okay? So what's kind of cool about this is, though, you actually have the SSL bus compressor here, and it's actually part of this rack plugin. So you can use this on your mix and master buses to get that really nice punchy SSL compression. But you can also use it on your individual tracks, and that's what I actually did in this little mix I did here that I'm going to show you in this tutorial. And what I'm doing for this tutorial, for this review of this plugin, is I actually mixed this whole entire song here using strictly the Satson CS plugin and nothing else, with a few exceptions, but we'll go over that when we start listening. And I'm going to do kind of a, bypass and then unbypass. So you can kind of hear the difference and realize that, hey, you can actually mix a whole song with pretty much a compressor, a EQ, and you need some sort of analog emulation because we need some, we need some character in there that's going to make it sound a little less digital. And that's what this initial channel strip input right here does for us, okay? It gives us a little bit of that analog saturation, analog circuitry sound for the digital realm. So before we actually get into the listening portion of this tutorial, I want to quickly go over this plugin so you know what all the parameters within it do. So let's get to that now. Alright, so we'll start here on the left-hand side with the input module. So at the top we got our VU meter. Down here we got our volume fader. Then right here, this button is your gain compensation button. And then down here you have an option to enable crosstalk if you want to, and you have options for no crosstalk, vintage, or modern. Now this will only be active if you're using more than one Satson CS module, alright? Next to that we got our high cut, we got our low cut, and then we have saturation. To enable the saturation, you got to click the in button, and then if you want to make it a little bit fatter, you can press the fat button. Next to that, we got our compressor module here. As mentioned earlier, this is our bus compressor, and this emulates the SSL bus compression. So basically the amount here is going to be your threshold. So if you want to get more gain reduction, turn this up. Here's your makeup gain, tack release. You have ratios of 2:1, 4:1, and 10:1. If you're going to be using this on a master bus, use the 2:1, okay? And then you also have a mix knob, so you can use this as parallel compression. And you can use some side chain with high pass right here also. And if you want to bypass it, you can simply use the in button here by enabling or disabling it. Next to that, we got our SSL EQ. And you've probably seen several of these out here from either Waves or Slate or Universal Audio. There's many different ones out there, so I'm not really going to explain this to you, but it speaks for itself. It's probably one of the most famous EQs out there when it comes to channel strips, all right? The only thing I would say that would be a little bit different about this one, or maybe location-wise, is your high pass and low pass are down here at the very bottom, okay? So that is the modules within the Satson CS plugin. And if you want to rearrange them, you simply can just kind of click and drag them like this, put them in any order you want them. You can actually right click and you can remove them and bypass them this way also. If you remove one and want to get it back, you can go up to the module option here, and here are your options right here, okay? And over here on our hamburger icon, there's a couple options in here, nothing too crazy. You do have the GUI scale here, so you can do some scaling in here. I know for Mac people, this might be more beneficial, so you do have options in here for that. And then for the oversampling, this is really nice. You can actually do this up to 768 kilohertz. So if you want to go 16x, you can do it. All right. So by default, it is at least 2x at 96 kilohertz. All right. So that is the Satson CS plugin in a nutshell. So what we're going to do now is we are going to listen to this song, and we're going to take out the pieces, like the modules, one by one, and we're going to bring them in so you can kind of hear what each one of them does to the song and see how beneficial they are. All right, so let's actually get into that portion now. All right, so as mentioned earlier, I mixed this whole entire song using the Satson CS plugin here. Now, I did have to use a few extra plugins beyond this, but for very simple things. So I used the Slate VMR for its trimmer module just to do some basic gain staging. And then I also used some reverb and delay plugins just to use some effects, because obviously this does not have that in it. But beyond that, it's just this plugin. So pretty much what you're going to be listening to is strictly the Satson CS. Now, we're going to be listening to the interlude portion of this song, and we're going to listen to it bypassed, and then I'm going to bring it in. So you're going to get to hear what a good compressor, EQ, and analog emulation can do for a mix. All right, so let's give it a listen. All right, cool. So obviously with having this enabled and it being mixed, it sounds much better, but I would definitely say that it sounds a lot warmer also. And that's what we're getting from the analog emulation from this. So next what I want to do is we're actually going to listen to strictly the analog channel portion of this, enabled and disabled, and we'll see what kind of difference that makes. All right, so let's give it a listen. All right, cool. So let me know in the comments below if you heard the difference on that. All right, so now let's move on to our compressor now, and let's listen to it bypass first, and then I'll bring it in. All right, so let's give it a listen. Alright, so that was the emulation of an SSL bus compressor, and it really does wonders for a track. It made the track so much more full and punchy, and I'm really digging it. So lastly, let's move on to the EQ, and let's see what that does. So let's give it a listen. Alright, that is the wonders of EQ, and especially a SSL emulated EQ. So that is the Satson CS channel strip plugin by Sonimus, and I hope you guys like this video. And I hope you guys can realize that you can mix a whole entire song with a plugin like this. You got your analog emulation, you got a great compressor, and you got a great EQ all in this one plugin. And if you guys like this plugin, I have a link below in the description where you guys can go and purchase it and get more information on it. So definitely go check it out after you're done watching this video. So if you guys ended up liking this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe because I'm making this content for you, and hit that notification bell to know when new videos coming out. So with that being said, until the next video, I will see you guys later, and peace out.